Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Riki Clarkson tōku ingoa, ko Porongia tōku maunga, ko Wakato tōku awa, ko te kāi mātua tāo ahau i mahia, e Paparanga ahau. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. Just before I start, just want to say thanks to the organisers for inviting me down, and they've got a big effort into that, so it's appreciated. And also, just another thing, there's a few images in here that were licensed, the pictures, so please don't post them online, otherwise we'll be in trouble. Cool. So for those that aren't aware, Greater Wellington is responsible for numerous roles across the Wellington region. We've got biodiversity, biosecurity, economic development, public transport, water supply, flood protection, emergency management, and that's just to name a few. And then we've got parks and reserves on top of that, and water collection areas as well. We're also supporting the Martinborough Dark Sky Society project, and we're looking to complement the work that they're doing. So my role is in the Parks Department. I'm one of 10 park rangers in the wider parks team, and between us we manage 9 parks, 2 water collection areas with a total area of 50,000 hectares. We receive approximately 1.8 million visitors a year. So the park, so the park that I look after is this big red one, and I'm the only ranger on site. The park's comprised of 2 distinct areas. So we've got the water collection area, which is this area here, and this is the publicly accessible recreation area. So the water collection area does have some public access, but it's restricted to protect the water supply. So the park's comprised of 2 main valleys. So there's the Wainuiomata River Valley and the Orongorongo River Valley, and yeah, that's good. So the total size is 8,000 hectares, and so both of those, both the recreation area and the water collection area have been identified as parts of the potential future dark sky place. Cool. So the park was put aside as a water collection area in the 1880s, and so this is actually the original dam. That's my house there, and my office. I've got probably the shortest commute if anyone to know. That's the old original dam from 1884, and so they built all this and put the area aside due to cholera outbreaks in Wellington and lack of supply to fight fires. So that's the Morton Dam that was built afterwards, after the city's population doubled. So that's from 1911, and then that's the same dam again. This is in 1924 they built a tunnel through to the Wainuiomata-Orongorongo side of the catchment, and that was to provide water from that catchment as well. So when that was built, that's 3.6 kilometres. It was one of the biggest tunnels in the southern hemisphere. So we've also got the best example of lowland broadleaf rainforest in the lower North Island. So we've got kakatea, remu, which you can see in this one, and if you've got a real eagle eye, you'll spot a little ranger down the bottom there. This is one of my favourite trees in the park. It's about 1,300 years old. It's a matai, but we've got trees in the park that are up to 1,500 years old. We've also got remu as well, quite significant trees. There's also, within the park, 3 significant natural wetlands. It's a key native ecosystem site, so we manage biodiversity in there and manage pest plants and pest animals and restoration. So to give you, this is the mainland island, so this is a pest animal trapping network. So there's 1,500 traps and bait stations in there, and to give you an idea of scale, for one of our officers to do a line in there to refill the bait stations, that'll take them the whole day. So we've also got nocturnal species such as the brown kiwi, the North Island brown kiwi, and we believe we've recently seen bats in there. You might have also heard about a rifleman translocation to Zealandia. That was from this park. And we also have the only species of a snail that's found just in the park alone. So I grew up on a farm near Wellington, and I remember, near Hamilton, and I remember lying on my driveway as a child looking up at the stars. And then in my 20s I moved to London, and it was there that I noticed something a bit odd. The sky was suspiciously absent of stars, and it wasn't really until I moved back to New Zealand and ended up getting this job out in the bush that I realised what I'd been missing. Even though the park is only 30 minutes drive from Wellington, sky glide is limited just due to the steep banks around it in the valleys. And because of that, I decided to it would be a good opportunity to run a public stargazing event. And I got in touch with Anthony Gomez at Wellington Astronomical Society, and before the event he came out and gave me a private tour of the night sky with his telescope. From there I was just hooked on dark skies. It was amazing for me as someone who'd never looked through a telescope, and it was just mind-blowing really. So I've been viewing it as a conservation initiative ever since. So this is a photo from our first event that we ran in July, and that was run in partnership with Wellington Astronomical Society, and the event booked out with around 100 people in attendance. And I run quite a few different events for the council, and the thing that really stood out to me was that with this event there was such a diverse crowd. We had people from right across the region in attendance. The mix of ethnicities, ages, was just, we had young families, teenagers, elderly people, and those are not groups that you get usually coming to the same sort of events, so it was really interesting in that regard. So following the successful event, I decided it was a positive thing for the council, the public and the park to begin to investigate how we could protect the dark skies better. We went out and we took skyglide measurements using the unihedron meter. This was just down the road from where we took this measurement. So this is 21.3 magnitudes. That was on our second trip out. We got that reading, and that was on the 24th of August at 11 p.m. So we actually think we can probably get darker readings than that, and so to establish a more reliable idea of the state of skyglide in the park, we've come up with a bit of a plan with our hydrology department to use their network to set up monitoring equipment right across the park. So those little blue dots there's one there and there and there, they're all hydrology sites, so we can actually hook up the skyglide meters to those, and then it'll send it through the data through to our website. At the moment it just takes the hydrology information, but we'll set it up so that we can have graphs of light meter readings over time and get an idea of how we're going, basically. So we are quite close to large populations in Hutt Valley and Wellington City, and there's significant future threats to the dark skies in the park, and that's why it'll be key for us to form partnerships with local councils and to encourage dark sky lighting practices are implemented. The biggest current threats are the program to replace Wainuiomata's lighting with 4K LEDs and a housing development in the valley to the north of the park. I'm hoping to meet with local councils soon to discuss mitigating these effects. Closer to home, we also have some challenges around security lighting at the water treatment plant. As part of the Dark Sky project, I'm hopeful we'll be able to partner up with Wellington Water and encourage better use of lighting within the park and to minimise light pollution. Generally, the rest of the park will be relatively easy to manage, with the major light sources being road lighting and a few external house lights. Mike Jackett, a local road lighting engineer, has teamed up with us to help us come up with a lighting management plan for the park. He's also been running surveys on the skyglide effects of different luminaires for NZTA, and this has been based near my office building in the park. And we'll use this and other information to help inform lighting decisions in the park. So there's just a couple of images of encapsulment. So going forward, we intend to continue running our annual Nighttime Mysteries event that we run, but the focus will be switched to dark skies. So currently the event lets the public experience the water collection area at night, and it focuses on some of our nocturnal species present, with the highlight being the glowworm-filled tunnel at the end. We've discussed the event with the Wellington Astronomical Society, and they're going to come along and provide a telescope and educational opportunities, and that will tie in well with that event. As the guide of the tour, I intend to shift the focus of the tour towards the importance of having dark spaces and the positive benefits for wildlife. Currently, dark skies policy for all of Greater Wellington Regional Council parks is being developed for inclusion in the Parks Network Plan, and that will direct the management of all our regional parks, not just my park. So my hope is that if that policy is successful, we might eventually be able to roll it out council-wide, and it can inform decisions around things like harbour lighting and public transport lighting, which we also manage. So in the future, it's my hope that the park will offer an excellent dark sky resource for the people of Wainuiomata and the Greater Wellington region. It has the potential to create job opportunities for local iwi and help put Wainuiomata on the map. There are also opportunities to provide interpretation and project visual displays of the universe at an interpretation hub in the park. Specifically, I'm interested in telling stories of local Māori star-related mythologies. And next year, we'll put the Parks Network Plan out for consultation, seeking feedback as to whether we should become New Zealand's first dark sky park, although it sounds like we've got a fair bit of competition, or whether we should join up and become part of the larger Martin Grove project, which is an offer that's been put forward to us. Or maybe there's a third option that we haven't thought of yet. When the time comes for public submissions to the Park Networks Plan, I encourage you all as members of the dark sky community to comment. Over lunch, I'd love to hear feedback from you about the benefits of these options and any recommendations you have. Thanks for that, and we do have a short video. I know we're running late, so we probably will go on while you guys have lunch. So, thank you.